Hey guys, and welcome back to Kitchen Table MTG. I'm your host, Russell, the Hedron Grinder brand, and today we're jumping back into our cube. So we're trying to pull four cards of every color out of Oath of the Gatewatch and Battle for Zendikar. Wasn't completely successful for white and blue, so we got some older cards that, cheaper in price that we threw in there. But those two sets, they were very heavy into tribal and devoid, and they had some other mechanics that didn't work. If we were talking EDH, ally, tribal, they would be the perfect sets to pull from. But for the cube, yeah, I mean, we're not going with any type of tribal synergy in our cube. So let's, before we take a look at those cards, I wanted to talk about a post that DJ from Brainstorm Brewery had written. And he was talking about how future standard sets, in this block, they'll probably have something to do with devotion. So in Dominaria, we got those 3 rare 3-drops that had 3 pips of every color. Benelish Marshal, Dreadshade, Goblin Chain Whirler, Steel Leaf Champion, and Tempest Djinn. So, yeah, I mean, these cards will be pretty good in our cube. They might rotate out one day, but, for the most part, I think most of them will end up staying in there. This isn't a super high-powered cube, and if the devotion does matter here in future sets, then these are definitely going to raise in price. But you got Dreadshade and Tempest Djinn, they're about 70 cents right now. And then Benelish Marshal is only $2.75, and I don't see this card getting any cheaper. It's 3 white for 3/3 human knight, and other creatures you control get +1/+1. So this is going to be perfect for any type of token strategy we're drafting out of our cube. And then you got Goblin Chain Whirler and Steel Leaf Champion. They're about $5, but Goblin Chain Whirler, it's 3 red for a 3/3 Goblin Warrior with first strike. That's not bad right off the bat, but when it enters the battlefield, it does 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. So that's pretty sweet. And then Steel Leaf Champion, it's 3 for a 5/4, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So, like I said, some of these might rotate out eventually, but it's going to be a while before we get to Dominaria for our cube. And if they do go up in price, you might want to look at them now. Set your price notifications on MTG Goldfish if you wanted to take a look at any of these to see if they drop in price. But yeah, we're going to talk about them now because it's going to be a long time before Dominaria rolls out a standard. So but let's jump straight into white. We're going to do Wooburg Order. Yeah, and then we'll look at a couple artifacts. So let's jump into it here. For white, we got 2 cards out of those 2 sets. We got Eldrazi Displacer. This is one of my favorite cards. I mean, I love Deadeye Navigator. A lot of people don't. There's some controversy over it, but let's read Eldrazi Displacer. It's 2 of any color and a white for 3/3 Eldrazi with Devoid, so it's colorless. And then it has the ability of pay 2 of any color and 1 colorless, exile another target creature, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So we're definitely going to have to add some wastes. We'll have some artifacts that tap for colorless mana, and maybe we'll add some utility lands in later when we get the cube full. Yeah, 3 mana to be able to do Deadeye Navigator's ability. Blinking out creatures, that's going to be pretty strong in our cube. Then we've got Steep Links. So Steep Links is 1 white for a 0/1 cat, but it has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So yeah, obviously if we can play some ramp spells and get 3 lands into play, this guy's going to get pretty big. But even with 1, our land drop, first land drop happening, he's a 2/3 for 1, so that's pretty sweet. And then we've got Intrepid Heroes. So Intrepid Heroes, or Hero, is 2 of any color and a white for a 1/1, and it has tap, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So it's kind of like Avatar WoW, except with a lot of restriction. I'm gonna like this in the cube. It's gonna be pretty cool. Then we got Kami Ancient. So Kami Ancient, let me pull this up. Kami Ancient is one of any color and 1 white for a 2/2, and you sacrifice it to destroy target enchantment. Just a utility creature. Be pretty sweet to throw in there. Let's get into the blue here. So for blue, we'll talk about the 3 cards I pulled out of those 2 sets, and then we'll get into, or no, let's do the other one first. We got Unsummon. So yeah, I mean, this is just a 1-drop, bounce a creature back to its owner's hand. Really helps with tempo. You know, your opponents spend 5 to 6 mana, and then you pay 1 to bounce it back to their hand. I mean, yeah, it's going in the cube either way. So, but out of Oath of the Gatewatch and Battle for Zendikar, we've got Umera Entangler. So yeah, I mean, this is a fun card. It's got prowess on it, and prowess is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. In blue, that's pretty sweet. It's a 1 of any color blue for a Merfolk Rogue ally 2/1, and that prowess, man, that's just gonna be nice. So what else do we got here? We got Wind Rider Patrol. Wind Rider Patrol is 3 of any color, blue for a 4/3 Merfolk Wizard with flying. And whenever it deals damage to a player, we scry 2. So that's going to help us out, a little bit of card advantage. We got a bigger creature in blue. It's got the flying. It's pretty sweet. And then we've got Gift of the Tusks. So let me find this. Gift of the Tusks is 1 blue. It's an instant until end of turn. Target creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elephant with base power and toughness 3/3. So yeah, I mean, this is just going to be a nice little combat trick. You know, we're just going to be able to take care of some creatures, and you know, if we got activated abilities or anything, it's going to help slow it down a little bit. So let's jump into black. First up, we got Zuluport Cutthroat, and Zuluport Cutthroat is 1 of any color and a black for a 1/1 human rogue ally. Whenever Zuluport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is going to fit into quite a few different strategies, so I'm really liking that. And then we got Corpse Churn. Let me get over here. Corpse Churn is 1 of any color, 1 black for an instant. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is going to fit into any type of graveyard shenanigans. Delirium, we're going to have some Delirium in this deck. Dredge, Delve. This is just going to help us get things into our graveyard and retrieve some creatures. So pretty cool. Then we've got Grasp of Darkness. Grasp of Darkness is black. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of the turn. Yeah, it's okay removal. It'll fit in. And then let's get back into another creature here. We have Drana, Liberator of Malakir. So this is 564 on TCG Player mid, but I did look on TCG Player, and you can get one for about 450. So it's 1 of any color, black for a 2/3 flying first strike vampire ally. And when Drana of Malakir deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sweet. So that's it for black. Let's jump into red here. And Expedite's first on the list. So Expedite is a 1-drop instant, 1 red. Target creature gains haste until end of turn, and then it replaces itself. We draw a card. So that's, you know, 1 drop to give your big creature haste, and then draw another card. That's pretty sweet. Then we've got Akoma Stonewalker. Let me find her real quick. Akoma Stonewalker is 1 of any color and a red. It also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 of any color and 1 red. If you do, put a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste onto the battlefield. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah, I mean, this is just, you know, we got somewhere to dump our mana. If we've got excess mana, we've got something to do every turn. It's a 2-drop, 2/1, and it gives us something to do if we have nothing else to do. So next up, we got another token generator. We've got Dragon Master Outcast. So this is a 1 red, 1/1 human shaman. And at the beginning of our upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, put a 5/5 red dragon creature token onto the battlefield. So that's pretty sweet, nice little tokens. And we can drop it early game and, you know, we got something to do, or we can drop it late game and hopefully make some tokens. Next we've got Goblin Dark Dwellers, and Goblin Dark Dwellers is 3 of any color, red for a 4/4 Menace Goblin. When it enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And then if it would go to the graveyard, it exiles instead. So we got, you know, a little free snapcast there. And that does it for the red. Let's jump into green here. First up, we got Seek the Wilds. Now this is a Pauper staple here. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's a sorcery for 1 of any color and 1 green. Yeah, I mean, this is fun to play in Pauper, so we're throwing it in. Next up, we got Pulse of Marasa. I think I said that right. And it is 2 of any color and 1 green for an instant. Return target creature or land card from the graveyard to its owner's hand, and then we gain 6 life. So there's, you know, a little bit of versatility to that. That 6 life might be a full turn, you know, in later game. So next up we got Beastcaller Savant, and this is 1 of any color, 1 green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman ally with haste. And it taps to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creatures. Now we're going to be playing all our Llanowar elves and elvish mystics and all the other little mana dorks. This guy does cost 2, but he has haste. So, you know, if you can cast him and then cast your Llanowar elves right off of him. I'm liking that for ramp. So next up we got Oran Reef Hydra. Oran Reef Hydra is 4 of any color for a green 5/5 Hydra with trample, and it has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on Oran Reef Hydra. If that land was a forest, you put 2 1/1 counters on them. So, you know, I mean, this is just going to be a big creature. Hopefully it's got the trample. We're getting through game finisher. We're going to get him pretty big. Okay, so that does it for our Wooburg. Let's jump into a couple colorless cards we got. So first up, we've got Captain's Claws, and this is a 2 of any color artifact equipment that equips for 1. It gives our creature +1/+0, and whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 core ally creature token onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So yeah, I mean, we're just gonna be able to get a couple other creatures. You know, you got Zuluport Cutthroat. We're gonna have some sack outlets. Stuff's gonna matter. So throwing that bad boy in there for right now. That'll probably come out a little later, but we will see. Next up, we've got Bane of Bala God. So this is 7 of any color for a 7/5 Eldrazi, and when it attacks, defending player exiles 2 permanents he or she controls. So if we can suit this guy up with Whisper Silk Cloak or, you know, some sort of shenanigans, this guy's going to be a game ender. Okay, so that sums up all of the Oath of the Gatewatch and Battle for Zendikar. We're adding into the cube. Next we're going over Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. I really liked these sets, so we might be able to add 4 from each set into the cube. And then once we get our cube filled, then we'll start, you know, trying to even out all the card types, all the instants and sorceries and enchantments for every color. But yeah, I mean, that's a little later on down the road. I just wanted to talk about, I got a Libsyn account, so now you can get it on Stitcher and iTunes. I think you could do that with Anchor before. I'm not going to post every show onto the Libsyn account, just because of the megabytes. I got a $20 plan, and that first Rats episode I uploaded, I mean, that takes quite a lot of megabytes. I was pretty surprised. So yeah, I mean, follow me on Anchor. You'll get some extra episodes out of me. You can follow me on Twitter at UTBGameco, or email me at underthebridgegameco at gmail.com. You can go to my website at underthebridgegameco.com. I'm on Tapped Out at Kitchen Table Mtg. And yeah, I think you can find me on Anchor on Kitchen Table MTG. And then yeah, let me know, get a hold of me. Let me know if you got any ideas for a show, or hell, maybe if you want to come on to the show and we can talk about one of your decks. Doing this by myself doesn't always flow quite as easy as you're talking to nobody. It's kind of hard, but I'm definitely not as good as Jumbo Commander out there doing it himself. But yeah, let me know. Get a hold of me, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Music by bensound.com.